On that note, let's get in Mehul Mohanka. He's Managing Director and Group CEO of Tega Industries. He joins us live exclusively on NDTV Profit. Mehul, congratulations on this deal. And thank you for talking to us, of course. This is Neeraj here. Good morning. Large one, considering the size of the acquisition. You've laid out that you're going to fund it via a pref or a QIP or some such as well. But tell us the bit of the rationale of making this acquisition of this size and of this line of business.
Thank you, Neeraj, for having me on the show. It's a really exciting opportunity for us in Tega and Molycop. As you know, the two businesses are very complementary in nature. And the idea is to how do we bring the two businesses together, which are critical to operate consumables in the mineral processing segment, together to deliver value to our customers globally.
Okay, just trying to understand what the debt picture then looks like, Mehul, going forward on Tega. Molycop, I think, has about 1 billion debt. How does that impact the debt and the margin picture?
As you know, we are in a consortium with Apollo Funds.
Yes.
They are coming in as a financial co-investor in this transaction. So the idea is to bring in equity as well together so that we can de-lever the company to some extent. So from $1 billion, we're looking at bringing it down to about 800 million once we have management control. And then we have a path in over the next 3 to 4 years to de-lever the company down on a combined basis to closer to about 2.5x over a 4 to 5 year period.
Okay, and what is the extent of equity dilution that you're expecting?
So as a family, I think given where the pricing is today, we should be looking at the family at least going down from about 74.8 to about 64%. It could be a bit here and there depending on how we go about raising the funds, but that's where the dilution will sit at from a family perspective.
Right, sir. So Soumit Sarkar also joining into the conversation. I just wanted some clarity. So have you received any commitments from investors? And given the fact that you're mentioning that the promoter holding would come down from 74.8 to 64%, does this mean that the promoter company will not infuse any funds at this moment?
No, we as a family, we are infusing funds into the pref allotment. We do have some indicative commitments from Apollo as well to participate in it. And we're in the midst of talking to multiple investors, our existing shareholders, to get their interest in participating in the pref as well.
Right, sir. Just wanted to understand some contours of this deal. So 13,000 crore is the enterprise value. What is the equity value here and how much debt will come into the SPV?
So it's 1.48 billion in total. I think the 13,000 that you're referring to is Tega's, revenue contribution at a 77% equity. And what was the other part of the question?
So I just wanted to understand how much debt of this company that you're acquiring will come into the SPV. So how much is debt and how much is equity of the enterprise value?
So no debt on the SPV. The debt will sit at the target at Molycop level. It'll be refinanced at Molycop level and it will be at no recourse to Tega.
So there won't be any debt of Molycop that will be coming into Tega's book at this moment?
Not at all. Nothing.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to understand, for this company that you're acquiring, they have a margin of close to around 11-12 odd %. Any scope of margin expansion to 17% odd that you can envisage going forward?
Absolutely. The attempt is to expand the margin to about closer to 14 to 15% over the next 3 year horizon.
Right. And just one more thing I wanted to understand. This company that you're acquiring, how much of land bank do they have? Any valuations that you have done on that front?
So they operate at about 14 locations globally. They have significant land parcels. But at this time, there are some assets we would look at how we can right-size them, how do we further improve capacity utilization. So the asset coverage is sufficient for the senior debt lenders at the target level to cover the current lending.
Mehul, there are two questions. Firstly, what all additional assets, additional pieces might be existing in the target which you might be able to diversify out of to quote unquote reduce the cost of acquisition, if you will, in the very short term? I'm sure in the long term you might identify various ways to make it a leaner, meaner organization than what it might be right now. Indian promoters do that beautifully. But in the very short term, is there something like that?
Like I said, it's still early days.
Still early
We just
days.
announced this transaction yesterday,
Okay.
but we will be working through that, and I can assure you that there's a very clear plan of how do we deleverage the business. So we're very conscious of that.
The other question that I have, Mehul, what does this mean therefore for Tega? Let's assume everything goes as per plan, and based on your capital infusion, etc., you are at 64, so on and so forth. But what does it do to the console entity Tega Industries over a 3-year or a 4-year period, if you will? Because you're making this large acquisition, there is a game plan to it about what it means for Tega over 3-4 years.
Yeah, I think we are extremely excited by this opportunity. It's a business that we understand very well. There are customer, I would say, synergies as well. We have the same customer profile globally. There are new markets for us, and as well as a target to expand into. There are SG&A synergies. There are revenue synergies that we can work on. So it's going to be, I think, a very, very value accretive for us going forward. We're looking at an ROE of closer to 18% over a 3-year period. And that would be our ambition. It could be shorter if everything plays out faster for us. And the idea would be to extract as much synergy as we can in the shortest period of time.
Mehul, just a small question. Of course, you've just announced it and early days in the process. But any idea about the timelines that we're talking about? At what point do you anticipate that you might be able to close this?
So we're targeting end of the year, but it could, like, for example, spill out a bit into perhaps January as well. It's all subject to regulatory approvals.
Mehul, just very quickly, what I wanted from my earlier question was that if you were at 1630, 1640, 1650 crores FY25, with this combined piece, what do you become in 3 years' time? Ballpark estimates, if you will. Mehul? Yeah.
Yeah, our attempt would be to expand to about possibly closer to around 350 million EBITDA over a 3-year period.
$350 million EBITDA from a 340 crore EBITDA in March 2025. Mehul, one of my colleagues has this very last question. And is there any idea of getting in a strategic investor into Tega for either building out this piece or something else? I think there were rumors of maybe Rio Tinto or somebody coming into Tega as well as a large investor, if you will. Is that something that could happen still?
Unable to comment on market rumors, but there is no such plan.
Okay, fair call.
This will be a completely Tega Apollo exclusive transaction.
No, not just for this,
no
but
room for anybody
in general, no other plan for getting in another person at Tega. At Tega
Absolutely.
level. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for that. Mehul Mohanka joining in, MD and Group CEO of Tega Industries. And